2022, the year that brought us Top Gun Maverick and Morbius. Clearly some were better than the other ones, and it's time to discuss. Were they good or no? I saw 24 movies that came out in 2022, and I'm going to add Morbius at number 25 because I feel like it's a safe assumption. Anyways, here's my ranking of the rest of them. You can disagree with me, and that's okay. You're allowed to be wrong.
Welcome to New York.
Thank you.
Disenchanted felt like if the movie Enchanted had a baby with a pile of garbage. Everything that was good about Enchanted was taken out of this movie, and what we were left with was a movie designed for 3-year-olds. Me personally, not being 3 years old, I didn't like it that much.
Eat my hammer!
Thor, pain and disappointment. Ragnarok is one of the best movies ever. This is probably only the best movie with the words love and thunder in the title. I hate this movie. I hate everything it stands for. I want to believe it never existed like I've been doing with Toy Story 4 for years. Unfortunately, making this video reminded me of Toy Story 4, and now I'm gonna go cry. Now that I got done crying, I can talk to you about Barbarian. Lots of people like this one. I was just uncomfortable the entire time. If you saw it, you know why. The logic is also just bizarre for most of it, and it takes place in Detroit, which is probably the scariest part of the movie. Many people saw this with costumes or business suits. I ended up just seeing it with a bunch of Green Day fans somehow, and appropriately, my main thought was to wake me up when this movie ends. I'm as big of a Despicable Me 1 and 2 fan as the next guy. The rest of them are kind of dumb.
You're not in Kansas anymore.
I don't get it. I don't get what the Way of Water hype is. It pained me. It was so long, and so little happened. This was the first time I've ever seen a 2-hour nature documentary in the middle of a 1-hour movie, and I didn't like it. It looks pretty, except the fight scenes, which look like a video game. But in the end, I'm glad this is the last Avatar movie they're making. Oh shoot, they're making 7. Lucky for me, I've at least realized that everybody that saw this either really liked it or was like me and was bored out of their minds. You are not alone.
You're going to die! You're going to die!
This movie did not make me do what the title implied. There's a lot of basic generic horror movie stuff that just didn't really work for me and I was bored. I also haven't smiled ever, so maybe it just wasn't relatable to me like it was to some people.
Boring, but that's like the point, I think.
It's fine. There's definitely some high highs like 1985 and The Chicken, which are now 2 of my personal anthems. But it's overshadowed by the full initial comedy special, which if you haven't seen it, you should go check it out.
Lemon meringue pie. When was the last time you ate a lemon meringue pie?
Everyone I watched this movie with loved it. I guess I'm just on a higher plane of existence. The action was cool, but didn't feel earned. The movie was mostly exposition. I just wanted the movie to take a bullet for most of it.
The real question is, what are those?
Next up we have Black Panther, but it goes on forever. It almost put me to sleep in the theater. Granted, I did go see a movie showing that started at 10:45 p.m., and it's really long. The stuff that honors Chadwick is cool, but it cops out on every good idea that it has, basically. It also had far too many blue people and water themes to not be the real Avatar 2. Which, while I would prefer that, it's still not great. Marvel just let me down this year. Speaking of which, so did Pixar.
You are a toy!
Lightyear was as middle of the road as Pixar can get. To be fair, I hated Luca, so this was definitely a step up. The notion at the beginning that this was Andy's favorite movie of all time is a bit silly. It'll be a light year before I watch this one again.
All good.
Turning Red was also mid. A lot of people hated this one, but it's a 6 out of 10. That just doesn't cut it from a Pixar standpoint. It also clearly aimed toward teenage girls to an uncomfortable degree for a family film, and didn't relate to me as I am not a teenage girl.
Steven, please. And you are? Wow.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Another solid 6 out of 10. A lot of people really hate this one, and I think that's giving this movie more credit than it deserves. It also compares it too closely to Thor Love and Thunder, and that is not a fair comparison to this movie and brings up Thor Love and Thunder too much. It's also just a little more forgettable than you would like. If you want a Sam Raimi film, go watch The Grudge or the Spider-Man movies or The Evil Dead or really basically any other Sam Raimi film.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville and I'm gonna get hit by a car real soon.
Yeah, it was funny.
Finn's arm is mint!
This is the first good movie on our list. Ethan Hawke is great, so is The Kid, so is The Basement, so is The Phone. The Phone is acting its heart out. Also, those kids that actually became ghosts for that role, that is some real method acting. So, Joaquin Phoenix, step aside.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
It certainly was a Scream movie. It's basically the first one, but no longer original. Still good. I also saw it on a plane, and that probably makes it automatically less good.
Pablo Escobar, you just made the biggest mistake of your life.
I encourage you to go watch this movie right now if you haven't, because it is as off-the-walls insane as anything else you'll see this year, except for maybe one other one on my list. This may be my favorite musical biopic of all time, although to be fair, I never saw Elvis or I Want to Dance with Somebody. I won't spoil this one outside of telling you that Pablo Escobar is in it.
You're afraid because I'm the big bad wolf.
Surprisingly good. DreamWorks was on it this year, although I still haven't seen Puss in Boots 2. I just think this one was unoriginal, but looked cool and had lots of fun characters. Also, I love Sam Rockwell almost as much as when he was in The Green Mile. And these are pretty similar characters.
I got you! I got you!
The Batman was overhyped. Still good, but not as good as I expected. The music was pretty cool. It's a good thing my eyesight is good because it's really dark. Also, I have seen all 5 Twilight movies, and unfortunately I enjoyed some of them more than this movie.
Why don't you stand still and die?
Nothing can justify this one being this high. It was so much stupid fun all at once, and I loved it. He turns into Supersonic, and I freaked out. It was all great. The entire movie was great, except for the dance battle. It was definitely the second best movie with Sonic in it this year. Speaking of movies with Sonic in it,
Honestly, your weird dead eyes. They are weird. Super weird.
this is the best use of pointless references and cameos I have ever seen. Seth Rogen plays 4 different characters, and I love that. The villain is hilarious, the plot is surprisingly clever, it all works way too well, I'm sorry. Anyways, it's now time to get into the 4 movies that came out this year that are really, really good.
We can do a cheeseburger. I'll make you a very good, very traditional cheeseburger.
I don't think you can.
This movie is a treat unlike anything else. It is so funny and so twisted that I can't wait to watch it again with more people. I also like food, so it had an automatic leg up.
You told me not to think.
I hate Top Gun. But this one is so good! My mom is the only person I've ever talked to that didn't really like this movie. Also, my sister is in love with Miles Teller, and the sheer comedy of that boosts it for me.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No!
I have this one way higher than those people. But I love this franchise so much. And I love Rian Johnson so much. And I love Dave Bautista and Leslie Odom Jr. and Edward Norton so much. And it's just so much fun, and the ending is so, so good. I love it, I love it. But not as much as I love.
I got bored one day, and I put everything on a bagel.
This is a top 15 movie of all time. Everything is perfect. If you haven't seen this, we are no longer friends. It is the best talking rock movie ever. It is the best multiverse movie ever. It hits on so many different levels. This should win Best Picture and everything else. So those are the movies that came out this year. Seems like something that I would make a rap about. To those of you that are about to watch this, I am so sorry.
Yeah. It's been a good year for movies, y'all. People back in theaters. But let me ask, what came out this year? Hey yo, we started off the year with a hotel and a scream. Just 2 legacy sequels with low budgets and a dream. But it seems they team with more pride and more style than the whole Ice Age adventures of Buck Wild. Speaking of Disney Plus, their year didn't go as they planned it, or else there'll be no Pinocchio and better Disenchanted. You want boy with no strings? Go no further than Del Toro. Give you more in one moment than the whole movie Thor. And now speaking of that, talk about Project Armageddon, because Marvel got me marveling at the marvelous mess they're in. They messed up my main man in a multiverse of madness with the baddest of CGI since whatever Morbius is. Everything, everywhere, all at once made us question our lives and laugh at talking rocks. Speaking of rocks, this year we fell in love with the shell, while the rest of us sat through Cameron indulging himself. Oh, okay, it's time I address this. I was right. Avatar 2 was not good. I didn't pay to watch a 2-hour documentary in the middle of a 1-hour movie. And that's all it was. It was like a 30-minute intro, and then 2 hours of cool water CGI stuff, and then a 30-minute ending. And it's just like, that's not what I want to say. None of you guys are listening. Whatever. Top Gun Maverick was awesome and the whole world agreed. It was way better than any of us thought it would be. It better win Best Picture, or the only thing you're hearing from me is, where in the world is Inisherin? Oh, it's off the coast of Ireland. Well, you learn something new every day, I guess. Wait, it's fictional? Dang it. Speaking of the Oscar, Steven Spielberg is back, although back is a strong word when you look at the fact that the Fableman's fabled end seems to be misfortune, cause it's tortured by how Black Panther 2 keeps coming back. People whipped out costumes and business suits just to go with their buddies to see Minions Rise of Gru. It made more than the Batman. Wait, hang on, it made more than the Batman? What? This next section is called Movies You Forgot About That Came Out This Year. Keep track of your own score, like if you remembered any of them at all. The Atom Project, Deepwater, Halloween Ends, Death on the Nile, Jurassic World Dominion, The 355, Hocus Pocus 2, The Gray Man, Bob's Burgers DC League of Super Pets, Fantastic Beasts 3, Amsterdam, Enola Holmes 2, Ambulance. And while it should concern you, that's not the end, cause at least one of these movies made $1 billion. Oh, let me see what else is there to talk about. Devotion bombed, Babylon bombed, Glass Onion was amazing. Oh, I know what I have left to talk about. One movie remains. Puss in Boots! The Last Wish! Ended the year out like Magic Johnson with a swish. DreamWorks wins out the year, leaving the competition dead, cause Pixar only had Lightyear and Turning Red. So that's 2022. What a year it's been, from biopics of Elvis to Whitney Houston. I hope to see vids for all of these on Cinema Sins, cause overall, the movies this year were a win, or they were Morbius. And yeah, I know that doesn't rhyme, but like, I had to trash Morbius. Like, I couldn't go this video without trashing it at least twice.
For those of you that were wondering, yes, that was intentionally bad. It was not terrible like that on accident.